social slime, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries laugh to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. See their shit, force of air, fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one leaves countries, lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.TV, my favorite little online network. So get out and promote the darn thing because there's a lot of good hosts on here. It is the 20th of February, and we have a nice warm day today. Must have got up to close 13, which is pretty darn decent, getting rid of some snow. And I'm sure they're going to say it's global warming. Anyways, you know what else it is? It is World Hijab Day. I think is that the 20th? Date February 1st. Well, that's late news then. World Hijab Day, better awareness, greater understanding, peaceful. February 1st marked the first annual World Hijab Day in recognition of millions of Muslim women who choose to wear the hijab and live a life of modesty. Let's see here. World Hijab Day is an annual founded by Naza Clan in 2013. The event takes place February 1st each year in 140 countries worldwide. Its stated purpose is to encourage women of all religions and backgrounds to wear and experience the hijab. Event organizers describe it as an opportunity. This makes me want to puke. Event organizers describe it as an opportunity for non-Muslim women to experience the hijab. Feminist activist and Muslim reformer Azhar Noomani says, as Muslim women, we actually asked you not to wear the hijab in the name of interfaith solidarity, going on to say this modern day movement spreads an ideology of political Islam. Muslim reformer assures the day as being a well-financed effort by conservative Muslims to dominate modern Muslim societies, and says that the event spreads the misleading interpretation that the head covering is always worn voluntarily and that the hijab purely means headscarf, and is also described as worse than passé, suggesting that the name be changed to hijab is a choice day. Now, so I ran across a story in the Canadian Brainwashing Corporation News, and I don't know what's going on. CBC did this show called Little Mosque on the Prairie, which was the beginning of this nonsense. But like TV shows, it comes off, it's fictional. It's fictional. But what it's used for is normalization. Okay? And in that show, and I can't say too much about it because I only watched a couple part episodes of it, but it made me puke. But I understood real quick what the purpose of it was, and that was to get you to think of Muslims as sweet, wonderful people who are smart, intelligent, caring, and peaceful, and so on and so forth, and play the white Canadian, European Canadian as more of a hayseed, not real bright, and so on and so forth. So they had this big thing a few months back in Saskatoon, and it was actually held, it was a meet and greet, a Muslim meet and greet, and it was actually held at the Police Community Center. Go figure. It goes great with Islamophobia or M103 because, well, if the police are putting on the show, you know who they're backing. So, Regina Muslim women host World Hijab Day, and now World Hijab Day is apparently the 1st of February, but this story didn't come out till the 19th of February. A group of smiling young women wearing headscarves greeted people at Regina's Southland Mall on Sunday, inviting people to try on a colorful scarf of their own as part of World Hijab Day. I love to see curiosity from people, to see that they more open and willing to learn, said 18-year-old Azam, as people walked by with smiles or flipped a thumbs up as they passed. She said the reaction from some of the women trying on the scarf was amazing to see. They tell me they feel beautiful, which honestly makes me so happy to know that you can cover yourself and be modest and still feel like you're beautiful. Teresa Durston was walking by when she saw the display, stopping to chat with the women and to try out and take home a scarf of her own. They never have to do their own hair, she says. And I was envious of that because I'm a lazy cow from Regina and I don't like to brush my hair or wash my hair, so I thought the idea of a scarf would be a good idea. I just added that part. But this is what she said. They never have to do their hair, and I was envious of that. They never have a bad hair day, she said with a laugh. Ha 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 ha. Durston, who has an IQ of 8, no, I put that in, sorry. Durston says she's taught several students that wear the hijab who seem to cheerfully embrace this part of their faith. They are positive people, she said, adding, I don't see the hijab, I just see the people. Well, they're positive people, that's true, because we here in the West are so damn stupid. They're positively sure that we're going to just keep playing along with this stupid game until the Muslims and the Islamic faith have complete control of our electoral system, and they become the ones that are writing the law. Smooze it out till you get enough people in here, and schmooze it out and smile until it's time to bring the hammer down. That's the way the Muslim people work. And I'm not picking on any individual Muslim. I'm talking about the overall agenda. World Hijab Day was taken... now you lost me here. World Hijab Day was taking place since 2013, but Azam explained that the Muslim Youth Network and Islamic Circle of North America partnered up the event for the first time in Regina this year to address misconceptions that they sometimes see or hear. It's a kind of like misconception that wearing a hijab is forced upon you, that it means oppression, as Am said. We're trying to show it's more freedom, it's more expression, empowerment of women. Hold the phone there, Azam. If you go back to Iran before the Islamic Revolution, when the women in Iran looked like women pretty much anywhere else on the planet, and, is it a sign of oppression? Of course it's a sign of oppression. Go look at Iran today. But they don't print this shit in the newspapers. They don't print this crap, the reality. There's no reality. I mean, the news today has got about as much reality as Little Mosque on the Prairie, the CTV series. It makes me want to puke. And now we got Michelle Obama is to speak in Saskatoon in March. Now, Saskatoon is the same place the police put on the meet and greet for the Muslims in Saskatoon. Now, the really sad part about this is let's see, where are we here? Boom-de boom-de boom. I won't spend too much time on this. Now, this is the Greater Saskatoon Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring the event. CEO Darla Lindsberg, said it's exciting to have such a strong leader speaking in Saskatoon. Michelle Obama is one of the most influential, powerful, and inspirational women in the world today. So the fact that we can attract her and get her to come to Saskatoon is, well, that's amazing. Lindsberg said it's rare for Saskatoon to bring in leaders of Obama's caliber, so when they do come, attendance is high. When we've had events in the past come to Saskatoon, like Bill Clinton, like Oprah Winfrey, people respond to that. It's a huge deal for our province, and it's a huge deal for the globalists, because the dipshits in Saskatoon and elsewhere in this country don't seem to get it. Anyways, the Chamber of Commerce is selling premium seating for $4.99, and VIP meet and greet tickets are going for $2,000. Of course, Chamber members get a discount price and get access to the pre-sale. All other tickets, if you're interested, start at $79 each and can be purchased through Ticketmaster. Brilliant. Anyways, Christopher, we got you on the line there?
You do, my friend.
How are you keeping?
Oh, we're keeping.
Yeah.
I wish my one of my ex-wives had it covered up. I might still have one. So, I don't really feel it's such a bad idea to cover up your women. Unless they're really fat.
Well, I just, I don't even know where to go with that shit. What the hell? Oh, did you see that story from Kingston?
No.
They're going to close down the city golf course. I've seen this thing from...
Oh, which one? One on Montreal Street.
I'm not sure. Steve Pagan sends me stuff, or Pagan sends me stuff.
The Jew Pagan.
Yeah. Here, I got the story right here. And it's just that, is it time for Ontario cities to get out of the golf business? Demand for city-operated golf courses is declining, and some municipalities are wondering if that land should be used for something else. Yes, high-density housing. Okay, this goes all the way back to 1976. UN Habitat, Vancouver, what's not sustainable, golf courses, agriculture, your car, your house, air conditioning, meat consumption, they're all unsustainable. And they've put a development boundary around every single town in this country, town and city. You can't build outside of that. So as they infill, I don't know what Kingston's like, Chris, but here now, for the most part, if you want to build a house in town here, you pretty much got to rip a house down. There's no lots, right? And a golf course is anywhere from 50 to 100 acres, and you can put a shitload of high-density housing in that space. And so, I would suspect that this City of Kingston golf course is going to be turned into high-density housing. Is my
Here's the kicker,
guess.
Ron.
What?
If it is the golf course, and I believe it is because I've been talking about this for a few years now, I grew up right beside it. I used to go. I actually was almost a professional golfer. I gophered so much. It's actually the tail end of our old garbage dump.
Yeah, this will be the one because it said it was built by a landfill.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I drove my 4-wheel drives up there. I took my children up there to ski down it, sled down it. We just partied on a dump. And then when the dump got too high, they couldn't get any higher. They filled in, and this is right on the water too, by the way, Rideau Canal. They filled that in with garbage and put a little bit of dirt on top and said, "Oh, there's a golf course." So now they're going to take out the golf course, and you're correct. We got a third bridge going from one side of Kingston to the amalgamated part, Pittsburgh Township. I know this is unfamiliar area for most listeners, but that's what we have on the far side. It's called Pittsburgh Township, which is now amalgamated as a part of Agenda 21. We're building a bridge, and right beside the bridge is where the golf course is going to be, or the golf course was, and now is going to be high density housing. So they're going to.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be high density housing or not, but.
And they're going. They're going to take that away, and you're going to have and I'm sure it's going to be a very clean community, full of Muslims.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is getting absolutely out to lunch. I mean, you're right here because I see a thing here, Bell Park Fairways, referred to by locals as the dump, because it was built on top of a municipal landfill in '74. Now I've seen this done before down in Kitchener when I lived there a long, long time ago. They built housing on a dump, and then they just put in gas containment or gas whatever collection from the dump, right? And they will probably sell this on that idea. I wouldn't pass it, Oh, we can use the methane gas coming out of the dump for energy. It'll be an energy efficient. I mean, these are out of their
heat your home.
Mind. Yeah, heat your home while you're living on the dump. But see here it says here, Kingston Municipal Golf Course closed at the end of last season. Ottawa handed its public course over to a private company, and Toronto's 5 courses are under review. So, they're just looking for places to build shit, and the golf courses everywhere are on the hit list because these golf courses, you take 100 acres inside a city, and you figure out the cost of housing today, which has gone right through the roof because there's no lots laying around anymore. That property is worth a hell of a lot more faster to the owner of it to sell it off as a building lots or high density.
Us.
Huh?
The owner of that property is supposed to be us, we the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we the people usually end up owning, dumps.
Yeah.
Owned
it for years.
Yeah. So, it's.
But now they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it off to a private for-profit corporation, which is, Agenda 21.
Yep. All the way down the line.
They are going to build us a whole bunch of tiny homes.
Well, I sent you those 2 videos today. It boggles my mind. I sent Chris a couple of videos from New York, and one girl's living in a. She got a good deal, I guess. Her apartment is 90 square feet, and she's paying just over $700 a month for it. And the other guy, he got hosed because his is only 78 square feet, and he's paying $800 a month for it. So I have a small bedroom. We don't even use it as a bedroom. It's kind of like a walk-through room, but we have it so you can use it as a bedroom if you need it. But it's an 8x10 room. And I'm standing in that thing, and I close the 2 doors, and I'm standing in this 8x10 room, and I'm thinking, this is the size of the guy's apartment. Well, it's actually a few feet bigger than the guy's apartment in New York. That he's paying $800 a month for. And you're going, has the world lost its freaking mind? I looked at a map last night, and 50% of the population on the planet live on 1% of the land. Okay? So 50% of all the population in the world live on 1% of the land. Think about that for a minute. But we've got every single town got a containment border, a non-development border that you can't develop outside of that border. And infill. Now, I'm working on a map. I got a map of Canada. And I was playing around with it because I was looking at the population of, I said that on my show the other day, I was looking at the population of Japan and Greater Tokyo, or Metro Tokyo. And Metro Tokyo is 38 million people. Canada's 36 million people. So I'm thinking, where can I stick Japan? I had originally stuck it over on Newfoundland, Labrador, but that's a little ways out. So I found the district of Kenora, and Japan fits into Kenora, which is just when you leave Manitoba and come into Ontario. And so Japan, which has 127 million people, fits into the district of Kenora with, I think, 30,000 square kilometers left over. And then I went and took California, which is the most densely populated state in the United States, and I dragged it on up to Canada. And I stuck it in Kenora, and I needed to... so Rainy River is just a little sliver of land below Kenora, down to the American border. And when I added in Rainy River and Kenora, I had exactly the same land mass as the state of California, which has just under 40 million people in it. Now, I was trying to find somewhere to stick Metro Tokyo, and I'd originally looked for somewhere to put it, and I looked at Vancouver Island, which is not that big, and it's I can put all the population in the same landmass as the size of Metro Tokyo, which is under half the size of Vancouver Island. So I thought, what the hell? So I brought Tokyo home to where I live, and I live in Bruce County, Ontario, and Grey County's beside it, and Dufferin's just kind of attached to it, and then Simcoe County, which goes up to Orillia and Barrie and that. So those four counties, less the peninsula, Bruce County Peninsula, going up into Georgian Bay. So when I take off the peninsula, I have the same square kilometers, which is around 13,000 square kilometers in those four counties. And when you look at this map, I have basically a little, colored spot down here, black spot down in southern Ontario in those four counties. And that contains 38 million people in Japan, that same space. And what I'm trying to get at here is that you people in Canada better wake your sorry asses up, okay? Every single council in this country is telling you got to be sustainable, right? And when you look at Japan, there's lots of areas in Japan that are not, densely populated like Tokyo, right? But still, it's 127 million people there, and they're running around calling you water hogs and energy hogs and this and that and the other damn thing, and you couldn't, the 36 million people that live in this country, if they got up every single morning, all 36 million of them decided they're going to do whatever they can to disturb the environment, they'd never accomplish nothing. What this is about you handing over your country to a bunch of nutcases who want to play God. And we better put our foot down. They're bleeding you dry. They got their hands so deep in your pockets now. And you better learn to say no. Okay? Everything that is being done in this country is being done to destroy the country and destroy the people in the country. I mean, when I get this thing done, I'm going to put a few notes on it, and then I'll stick it up somewhere, maybe on Facebook, I'll probably share that twice and be in jail again. But when you look at this map and you look at how much land we have, and I was thinking this as well, they tell us that, a lot of Canada isn't hospitable for living on. Really? Now, if you go over to different countries, you will see them. They've got houses piled up the side of mountains and this and that. We don't do that here. People living up in the high Arctic in Finland and whatnot, they seem to get along fine. But you can only live in a narrow strip along the American border, they say in Canada, which is a crock of nonsense. But we can't live in anywhere except that little narrow strip in Canada, but we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars in the world on scientists and other nonsense and rocket ships to settle places like Mars, or looking for some other some other planet that would be hospitable, but we'd all have to live in bubbles in that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Our planet is so not overpopulated. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you just go and take a world map and you take Australia, which is this little space off by itself, and they did the numbers, and every single man, woman, and child on this planet fit into Australia, and each man, woman, and child has a quarter acre. And the rest of the world is completely vacant. So a family of 4 would have an acre lot, and I suppose you could grow the food that you require on the entire rest of the planet. Now, people got to get their act together here, right? The world's not overpopulated, global warming ain't real, and every other damn thing they're shoving at you is fiction. And we got to get some pushback going, and get it going soon, because they intend to run us over. Now, the interesting thing about Japan I found out last night was that Japan is gone into a rapid population decline. Japan is several million people smaller than it was a few years ago. And that is because their population rates dropped to 1.48 or something. Now, they say they want to get it up to 1.8, but it takes 2.1 for replacement. So, they have the same problem we have here, So, unlike Japan, who's not opened their floodgates to Muslims or migrants that are cooked up by the UN and them nutcases, like they say here, we got to do this because, well, who's going to fill all the jobs? Our population's getting older. We got to do something. Well, if you want to do something, instead of our people who built this nation footing the bill for all of these immigrants, why don't we use that same money to encourage our young people to have 3 or 4 kids? Because we're subsidizing the migrants, we might as well be subsidizing our own people. Now, I know Quebec did that. I don't know if they're still doing it. Years ago, I think they were given a $5,000 bonus for each child that was born or that. But the fact of the matter is that all of the people in Japan, or not in Japan, but all the people in Tokyo fit into 4 counties. They're not real big counties, right? 4 counties. This little black spot in the entire freaking nation. Every European born child should be deeded land. Now, this idea that the Crown owns all the land in Canada, except for, I forget what it is, 11% or some ridiculously small number. But they say that's private. Well, it's not private. The Crown still owns that land. That's the land that you live on. Okay? Because you don't own the land your house is sitting on. The Crown still owns it. Okay? It's just you got the paperwork. But you don't own the land it's sitting on. You own the property, and the property is an abstract concept, which is a piece of frickin' paper. Like they said, a home is the biggest investment that most Canadians make. Okay, it's just like a stock certificate. Okay, you're investing, yeah, and you get to sell the paper, yeah. Okay, so if the market's up, you can sell the paper and gain from it. If the market is down, you're going to just like in the stock market or any other market. Okay, so we the people don't own 1 freaking inch of this ground that we call home. We own nothing. And we better take possession of it pretty damn fast, because if we don't take possession of it, Well, it's over. It's that simple. Your children ain't got no future. But when you look at this map, man, you just go, what the hell are we doing? Richest country on the planet. We built everything that's on the land here we call Canada, but we own none of it. We built everything for the company.
Isn't it like, as I've said before, California, not the testing ground for what's going on?
Well, California is it's completely Marxist and leftist and everything else. I mean, that's where Joe Clark was at. That's where I found Joe Clark was at Berkeley in California on that panel with a bunch of Jews trying to soft shoe the North American Union down our throats. But Canada, I don't know that California could hold a candle to Canada anymore. I mean, we've chewed on this. I mean, we here in Canada signed on the League of Nations when America didn't. I mean, we've been at this a lot longer than America. Our leaders have been absolute treasonous dogs. They'll say, well, it's just company business. Well, yeah, it is a company. But you didn't tell us it was a company. You told us you were representing us when you weren't. Okay? These people should all be strung up. The whole damn works of them. Right? Like, they have been lying to us since square one. When you go back and you find out and you understand what the Hudson's Bay Company was and you understand what Canada is, which is just a rebranding of the damned Hudson's Bay Company. So we built everything for the company. We spend the money in the company stores. We live in company land, right? And we make payments to the company banks. And that's what we do. We have no capacity to make any difference in this country for ourselves. You should be able to go out on any piece of ground that's not being used for anything and build your house on it. But it's all Crown land, which is company land. So the land they call private is the company land where they built the towns and the cities, but it's still company land. I mean, well, let me put it this way. It's company terra firma, because land itself in Lawyerville is an abstract concept, just like property is an abstract concept, something made up in the mind, which if you go back to, I forget which king it was, but when they went to the king and said, you could make a lot of money if you sell the land. And the king says, well, if I sell the land, it won't be the king, you stupid asses. Well, yeah, but we don't mean to actually sell the actual land. We've come up with this abstract concept, something we made up in our minds. You'll always own the land. They'll think they own the land when what they own is a piece of paper that gets them to improve the land, increase the value of the land. Then we sell the mortgages and we make money off of them. But you always own the actual terra firma. And nothing's changed since then. And we need to change that. Because if we don't change it, we don't have any authority. We have no authority over anything in this country. None. They can make up whatever stupid ass rule they want, and you're going to submit to it, because if you don't submit to it, the dogs are going to come and bite you and force you to submit. I mean, when you got somebody that can come up to you on a job site and say, excuse me, can I see your certificate and that you paid your fee to go up that ladder? I mean, you're in trouble then. You know, when they can write whatever bullshit they want and put it through the House because they control the House. We don't control our own House. And the very things that that our forefathers wanted nothing whatsoever to do. They didn't want anything to do with the Hudson's Bay Company. Okay, they had their governors. Now we have a lieutenant governor and a governor general at the federal level, and lieutenant governors at the provincial level. No different than the governors of the Hudson's Bay Company. But our forefathers were bright enough that when the Hudson's Bay Company, when they started running into each other, and the Hudson's Bay Company governors told them they couldn't do this and they had to do that and bullshit like that, our forefathers just looked at them and told them to shove off. We don't work for you. But our forefathers also understood there was three things they didn't want in their villages, and that was lawyers, Jews, and Catholics. The weasels, the foxes, and the snakes. Because they got no room in a house because they will destroy the house. And that's exactly what's happened. Those three entities have got hold of our house, and they are destroying it. Our forefathers would have, long time ago, rose up, I think, and put this shit down. I mean, that's back when men were men, though. You know, when they came up to the East Coast and burned down the Parliament building on the East Coast, what did they do? Lick their wounds? Oh, well, they burned the... No, they got in their horses and they wandered on down to Washington and burned down the White House. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But we become so weak, so pitifully weak, that we just keep rolling over. Got to learn to say no, you know. When they came up to my uncle's bush and told me he had to call Ottawa, and Ottawa would come up and mark some trees, their pencil necks would come up and mark some trees, and then he could cut the trees down. What did my 80-year-old uncle say? No. My land, get off and own a gun. And he ain't never been back on his land since. When they came into Shauville, Quebec, and told them that they had to change all their signs to French because they passed a French-only sign law or something in Quebec, then that neck of the river, along the river there, is English, French, and whatever else is in there, and you put up whatever hell sign you want because the people got along. And when them monkeys from the government came in and say, you have to change your sign, and they went, what are you talking about? Well, it's the law. Well, you didn't ask us, was their response. Well, you got to do it. And they just put out that word, no. No, we're not. Our town, we like it like this, shove off. As far as I know, they still have their signs the same way. No is an absolutely powerful word. They come to me on the job site and tell me, start giving me a hard time, the safety inspector, because I'm wearing sneakers, I don't got a hard hat on. And everybody's having a heart attack. They're, oh my God, it's the safety guys. We're going to get in trouble. What is this we're going to get in trouble shit all the time? I went down and talked to the guy and explained to him, I feel safer in sneakers, and I'm up running in the trusses, and the hard hat's too high, and it's more dangerous than not having a hard hat on, because I know where my head stops. I'm not likely going to bang my head off something and fall down. But I'm in charge of my safety, not some asshole with a piece of paper. And I explained that to him. I didn't have to yell at him. I just explained it to him. And I ain't never seen another one since come near me. You got to learn to say no, people. If you can't say no, then you're just going to keep bowing down and whining and bitching and complaining. How about you try stand up and be men for a change? Just give it a shot. It ain't that difficult. It's not a big word. It's only 2 letters. I don't think you're going to have a hard time remembering it. No. I mean,
funny, Ron. The government gives out grants all the time now for green energy, right?
Right.
And we've got a siding grant. Like if you put a 2-inch foam board, which you and I have discussed privately, but just for the listeners, it's a 2-inch foam that gives you about an R12 on the outside exterior of your house, and then you side over top of it. The government will give you $3,500 rebate if you do that, depending on the size of the home, and they gotta factor in some numbers.
But that too is Agenda 21.
Well, yeah, but they also have windows and doors, which is what I do for a living. Right. As part of my carpentry
but you can't do it unless you're approved through their company.
You can with the installation, but you can't with the windows and doors. You got to go through all these governmental bureaucratic bullshit.
Well, it's not even the government. It's a private. I talked to these guys. It's a private, non-governmental organization, a not-for-profit organization that the government put in charge of this green fund. And when I talk to them, their expertise is in ground source heat pumps and shit like that. They don't know anything about windows, doors, insulation, or anything else. You say, well, how is it these guys don't know anything about doors and windows or insulation? And we got to go to them and be approved by them in order to qualify to go out and give the client the opportunity to get a rebate. I mean, it's absolutely asinine what's going on there. But I don't like rebates anyways. Okay, the province is approximately $330 billion in the hole, almost twice the debt load of California. Okay?
That's why I brought up California. That's why.
Right. So California's debt load is about half of Ontario's debt load. California has a bigger population than the entire country of Canada. And here we have these, can nobody draw any lines to these dots? You're $330 billion in the hole. Well, we're going to give a rebate. We're going to give this. We're going to give that. We're going to do this. We're going to sponsor all these Muslims in here. We're going to get them housing and yada, 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 yada. Well, who's on the hook for all this shit? You are. Okay, so they're going to give you a rebate. It's not a rebate because it goes on the debt load, and that debt load is at interest. Okay, so you're not getting a rebate, you're getting screwed over. And it's not across the board rebate, because a lot of the people to take advantage of the rebates are people who could afford to put in new doors and windows on their own. The people who couldn't afford to put in the doors and windows alone can't qualify to get the rebate because they can't afford to pay for it even with the damn rebate. Right? But then they shuffle that group over to where they're going to try and push in the guaranteed income. I mean, this is ludicrous what's going on here. But the worst part is, I would recommend people that they upgrade now while they can, because they're going to force you to upgrade. That's a given. And those who can't afford to upgrade, the upgrade is going to be offered to you by your municipality, who will pay for it. Now, it sounds good.
Sign over your house.
But now they own your house. And what's not sustainable? Private property. So you got the municipality coming to you, oh, Joe and Jane, understand you can't really afford this, but we got to upgrade in order to save the environment, because if we don't save the environment, well, we could hit 2 degrees Celsius somewhere out in the future and the whole world collapse, and it'll be your fault. So what we're going to do for you is we're going to pay for the upgrade. Then, the bankers are involved in it. Yeah, we cut a deal with the bankers. And then they're going to take that and they're going to stuff it out in the derivatives market. And we got a lien on your house. So now we own your ass, and so on and so forth. This is as ugly can be. And the average person is wandering around with their head straight up their ass. They have no clue what's going on. So I'm really looking forward to this election because I can explain some of this stuff to people. And I'll be toting this little map around that I'm working on too, just to try to get some reality into people's heads. They just seem crazy,
Are you in on that election? Are you going to be our next premier?
I'm going to be the MPP here.
Oh.
And then I'm going to be the premier. And then I'm going to be the premier, and then I'm going to be the freaking prime minister.
There we
I'm going to do what that cop said when he signed my paperwork in 2007. When he signed them papers, even though I've been thrown in jail since, even though I've had more cops here than I can shake a stick at, all sent by the hydro company or the municipality, because they did try and quash the truth. But that one cop did say, I'm signing this because I believe you have it in you to make this a better place and in turn a better country. Well, it would be a whole lot easier if people would just, rub the sleep out of their eyes and go, we ought to be paying attention to what's going on here. Because our family's got no future in this country. The country our forefathers built, okay? Our future is being erased from the very place that everything in it was built by our forefathers. I just got a minute here. I want to say this, Chris, because I'm back in good old Facebook jail again. But one of the posts I put up has to do with our lieutenant governor. I think this is probably what got me in the bucket. This is by the Allah Bayat News Agency, which is a Muslim news agency. And here we have a lovely picture of a bunch of Muslims and our Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Elizabeth Dowdeswell, the Honorable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, it says, hosted the first ever interfaith Ramadan Iftar in the Lieutenant Governor's suite at Queen's Park on Tuesday. Didn't do it over her house, did it at her office in Queen's Park. And she went on to affirm that Muslims and Islam are an integral part of Canada. This is what the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario says. Any attack on Muslim Canadians is an attack on all Canadians, for Islam has a proud history of one of Canada's major religions. It is woven into the fabric of our communities, and it has been so for generations. And that's coming out of the mouth of the Lieutenant Governor, who hails from the United Nations, was a member in the government of Alan Blakeney, who is a criminal and a globalist. And these people are the people that are ruling us. Now, when you have the Lieutenant Governor saying that you can't say anything narrowly about a Muslim, and if it wasn't for the Muslims, we've heard this before, if it wasn't for the Muslims, well, Canada would have never been built, even though there's no Muslims here. This is not good. The other thing for people listening, you can get all this stuff. If you go to my Facebook, Rock the Boat Radio, all of this stuff is there. But one other thing here that I put up that would hopefully get, and this is what I really got busted on, is the IISD. Most Canadians have never ever heard of the IISD, which is the International Institute for Sustainable Development. So you can call that the United Nations Canada, which is located in Winnipeg. Now, I clicked, let's see here, I'll just click on this, see. I put in a link here in the search engine for Morris Strong. Now, I didn't read any of this stuff, but let's see. In memory of Morris Strong. Morris Strong, a tireless advocate for sustainable development, passed away at the age of 86. Scott Vaughan, ISSD president, and David Runnels, ISSD president. Let's see, but where is that damn thing? Anyways, this has a lot of stuff in here, and the one, let's see, it has the lieutenant governor in here. Where is that? Anyways, we're going to run out of time pretty quick. But anyways, go look at the IISD, put in Morris Strong and Elizabeth Dowdeswell, and you will find them both in there. They had, let's see, where is that damn? Anyways, it's in here somewhere. The in memory thing. And, okay, I'm going to have to do this again. He found it under Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson, and I think it was Pearson that signed us on to the League of Nations. The Canadian International Development Agency in the 60s, that was the CID, of which Morris Strong was head of, under Trudeau, which billions of dollars were shipped out of this country. And if you want to know about that story, just go get a copy of The Cloak of Green. If people would just read that one book, they would get a much firmer understanding of the fraud that is being plied against the good people of this country. So go get a copy. You can read most of it online and go through Google Books. There's the odd page missing, but for the most part, it's all there. So go to IISD or go to Rock the Boat Radio and click the links in the stories I put in there on the IISD, and the one below that is about our Lieutenant Governor and the Muslims. And get yourself educated a little bit. Educate your children. Get your children to ask the teachers why they don't teach any of this shit. You might want to phone up CBC and some of these other mainstream media and say, how come we don't know any of this stuff? Why was this withheld from us? Because you pissed us off. And we're going to fix this. Anyways, Christopher, I think we're just about out of time. Thanks for calling in, because I really didn't want to do a show because I'm afraid of global warming. I got to build a global warming bunker. So I had to take an hour out of my life to do the show, and got to get back to building my bunker.
Well, show where you're flush.
Well, it might be easier digging down at your golf course there. The dump might be a little softer digging.
Yeah.
You know.
Pylons. Bring pylons.
Anyways, everybody, have a great night. I hear music, so we're out of here. Thanks, Christopher. And we're gone. We're out of time.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck